There were two sheriffs waiting.
Tonight's the most anticipated town hall meeting in Otter Creek's history. Will there be a new mayor? Will the same mayor be mayor? How many sheriffs will be there? So here's what we anticipate. We know every time we show up to the town hall actual building that they call the sheriff deputies. So we already figure there's going to be sheriff deputies. There's already bickering and fighting amongst the individuals, who they actually want in council and who actually got voted in by the skin or the teeth. We feel like there's going to be fighting and bickering and a lot of tension and frankly a lot of dysfunction. Nobody knows what's about to happen, so we're going early to get a good seat. Right now we have a record-breaking attendance here by the residents. You ever seen this many people in here before?
The heat is on.
The heat? Well, the sheriff has driven by once already too. So
There's an auditor here as well.
yeah, there is. We got a couple minutes before we start with the pledge.
And I think they finally have a speaker that works.
That in itself is a miracle. Yep. All the prayers are working. What you heard George say is their speaker's actually working now. So month after month after month after month after month, Mary can't figure out how to get speakers and a microphone to work through a laptop because they hire an attorney who's in Gainesville who doesn't actually show up at the meetings, okay? So he's a hired attorney and he's not there at the meetings, and nobody on the actual council can hear what the attorney is saying, and the attorney is getting paid and not hearing anything that the council is saying. So that's where George is going, oh my goodness, there's finally speakers. It's a miracle. But trust me, this doesn't last long.
Mary, town clerk, Russell, current mayor, Don, longstanding member of the community, Gail, voted back in, neighbor of what the Hales, also a neighbor, zoning.
There's one council member actually missing, Stuart Stewart. And I know right now you're going, nobody names their kid the same name twice. He's missing. You can't miss him in a crowd. And the reason is because he thinks a whole new council is being voted in and a new mayor. But we'll get to that in just a minute.
7 o'clock, meeting will come to order. Let's do the pledge. Go first. He's got a long ways to drive. He's gonna go over the yearly audit for us. Tell us where all the money went to.
So now we get to know where the money is. What about the financials in every other meeting? There's always going to be a P&L. That's a profit and loss statement. You may know that as a credits and debits. You may know that as income and expenses. All of that stuff is to be prepared and to be shared. And yet it never is. And why? Because Mary can't do math. She doesn't do the job she was hired for.
My name is Carl Harmon. I'm here on behalf of Collins Jones CPAs. It's a pleasure to deliver the audit for the town of Otter Creek. We've reviewed the report with Mary, so this is a formal presentation of the audit report. There's 50 pages in here, and I'll try my best not to cover all 50 pages and just hit the pertinent information. On pages 6, 7, and 8 is our audit opinion. It states that a complete audit of the town was performed in accordance with applicable auditing standards, which in this year were financial auditing standards and government auditing standards.
What you're seeing is an outside CPA firm hired to audit the books for Otter Creek. This is standard procedures. Now, when I ran non-for-profits, I did internal CPA, and I would also have an audit from an external CPA to adhere to the highest standards of stewardship. Every penny literally needs to be redundantly known where it goes and what it does. And that's what's happening here. They have to do this.
In an audit, what you seek is a clean, unmodified opinion that states that the financial statements are an accurate reflection of how the town stood at the fiscal year end and what transpired during that year. You have the highest level of assurance, which is a great reflection on the quality of the financial records and practices of the town. Beginning on page 10 is the management discussion and analysis. This is a required overview of information, and being that it is derived from the financial statements, I ask that you review this on your own time. And let's begin with the first pertinent statement, beginning on page 17. On page 17 is the governmental balance sheet. The town is a government, of course, and it operates on the governmental fund accounting. It has two funds. It has the general fund,
You
which is the biggest,
got a
and
member.
CDBG.
Not
Total
even
assets
in
general
his
fund,
manual.
What you hear me mumbling is there's a member on the council who's not even turning the pages to look through the audit. This is like the number one responsibility of a council is fiscal responsibility and stewardship. And what's happening? Nothing. You have somebody who's not even opening the manual, which completely blows my mind. Now, you can cheat an audit. You can cheat an audit really, really easily, especially with an outside firm coming in. I mean, you can have everything line item perfectly, and if you're cheating somewhere, you put it under a line item, and it can't be caught unless you dig and you dig and you dig and you dig. These council members are responsible for this, legally responsible for this. What are we doing? Nothing. Manual's just sitting there right in front of me.
$232,046. At fiscal year end, you had no accounts payable and no accrued liabilities, resulting in an unassigned fund balance of $232,046. On page 18 is the statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes.
Sorry?
Make it louder.
Do I need to talk to a microphone, maybe, for him?
Is that my phone?
Is this the microphone?
Yeah.
Is this better?
What you're hearing is the town attorney. We're 5 minutes into the most important portion of this town hall, the finances, and he's gotten nothing so far. So the town's paying him per hour for this. And by the way, we're the town, the taxes we pay, the individuals who are paying for the water, they're all paying for it. The residents are paying for it. 5 minutes he's missed already. That miracle of the sound actually working with speakers after months and months and months and months. And I take Christian and patience, and Christian's like, Jeremy, just let me go and fix it. No, Christian, it's her job. It's not your job. It's her job. Still didn't work.
I probably have to get it adjusted here.
All right. On page 18 is a statement of revenues, expenditures, and
You hear me?
changes.
I'm sorry?
You can hear me now, right?
Yes, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
Okay. Yeah, we're in business now. Okay.
Good. On page 18 is a statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in that fund balance. Total for the governmental fund, you had total revenues of $570,277. Total expenditures of $556,438, resulting in a positive increase in fund balance of $13,839, resulting in the fund balance at the end of the year of $232,046. On page 20 is your enterprise fund. Your enterprise fund operates under business accounting principles, and the purpose of this is to operate off of charges for services. So this balance sheet is actually called the statement of net position. You had total assets in your enterprise fund of $624,468. Total liabilities, $8,580, resulting in a net position, also called your net worth, of $615,888,
Recording in progress.
It's all good, Which means that your fund balance will cover over a little bit of 12 months of your enterprise expenses. On page 21.
So, Mary, say something. I want to be sure I can hear.
Can you hear me now? No?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. And I saw it's recording.
Okay, yeah, the auditor is reading the report.
I know you're shaking your head with me. I mean, the lack of professionalism, the time that could have been spent beforehand actually doing it. You could have watched a YouTube video and learned how to do it.
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. On page 21 is your changes in your revenues, expenses, and changes in net position for that enterprise fund. You had total water sales of $32,031, total operating expenses of $41,710, resulting in an operating loss of $9,679.
Did you hear that? They've lost a ton of money selling water to the residents. I wonder how they're trying to make up that loss.
But when you consider the transfer from general fund of $597,155, you had an increase in net position of $587,476 and an ending net position of $615,888. On page 22 is your statement of cash flows. Net cash provided by your operating activities for $3,232, and you had an end result of cash of $35,213. The next couple pages are notes to the financial statements, but I ask you to turn to page 33. I want to highlight your capital assets. In the general fund, you have total depreciable assets, $150,910. Total accumulated depreciation, $150,517. And what this means is that your assets in the general fund are a little on the old side, close to 90% depreciated.
Depreciation. It's a tax term, and it's why I tell you real estate is the best investment you could ever make, because our government encourages you to buy real estate and then in your taxes allows you to depreciate it or take the value down over so many years. They give you tax breaks that you can only find in real estate. You should be investing all of your money in Florida real estate, maybe Otter Creek. There's a lot for sale.
For your enterprise fund, you have total assets, $1,433,794. Total accumulated depreciation, $844,539, which means that you're about 60% depreciated in your enterprise fund. On page 42 is your schedule of expenditures of federal awards and state financial assistance. For the federal government, you received the CDBG grant. Revenues recognized for the year of $515,400. From the state, you received your ARPA funds. You received half of it this year, half of it the following year, $33,557. So financially, you had a stable year. General funds fund balance increased, and after the transfer from the general fund, enterprise fund had a net increase in fund balance. On page 44 is our independent auditor's report on internal control. And if you go halfway down, you see a long-standing finding that you all had since 2011 that we are required to report on. It just said that you don't have a governmental accountant on staff and that our firm prepared the financial report for you. And it's a disclosure finding. This type of finding will not get you in trouble with the state. On page 46 is our management letter. And this is required by rules of the Auditor General, where we report on items that go beyond the numbers. In the prior year, you had no reportable findings, but in the current year, you had two. The first one being bank statement reconciliations. I'll let you read that. What we recommend here is that all bank statements be reconciled on a monthly basis. When we audited, we found out they weren't.
I'll give you 3 guesses whose responsibility and job that is. And I'll even give you a hint. I think it rhymes with scary.
We need that to be corrected for this finding to come off. And also your CDBG grant funds need to be within their own funds and not commingled anywhere else. And that's required by the state.
This is a huge accounting no-no. Like, this is the biggest thing where my mind went, oh my goodness, I can't believe they're putting everything in a melting pot. That's a huge mistake. Allocated funds must be kept separate from general budget or any other funds.
On page 49 is our communication with those charged with governance. This simply states that your staff was fully available as well as the records to be audited and that we had no disagreements with the staff.
I'm glad somebody actually had a good experience in that town hall.
You have any questions for fiscal year 21?
Right on. Anybody have any questions?
How's this made available to the public?
Mary will have copies available to you, and a couple of days it'll be on the state's website.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. All right. Thank y'all so much. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you for coming.
Thank you, Carl.
Keep in mind, this was fiscal year 2021. George and I just arrived in Otter Creek December of 2020. And then we installed the pipe, the 2-inch pipe, the famous 2-inch pipe, and our 2-inch meter. And remember, they're in the hole over $9,000 in 2021 on selling water. And this is when Mary, out of the blue, starts coming up with numbers to actually charge me.
It was a little higher than the second one, and from now on.
So your
It's-
commercial rate, who applies for a commercial rate?
Well, you have the 2-inch meter,
Uh-huh.
and that makes the difference.
So am I the only one in town with a 2-inch meter?
There's one other.
Who's the other?
Oh. Well, they currently are not using their 2-inch meter,
Okay.
but there isn't. But and we are working on
So-
the rate structure.
Okay, so from my understanding, you let me know if I'm wrong. I was quoted that the water is $22.50 a month, and
For
that
residential.
and I am a residential property. Now, regardless of whether I have a 2-inch meter or not, I paid for the 2-inch meter. I
You did.
paid $2,360 for a 2-inch meter. I'm not going to pay twice for a 2-inch meter. I am a residential property. I am not a commercial property. Now, I see here that you put commercial, but I am a residential property. I am zoned as a residential property. I've already paid for the meter. The meter should make no difference. It is $22.50 regardless of whether you're residential or whether you're commercial in this town, up to 4,000 gallons. Now here, your bill tells me what I used as far as gallons.
Right.
So what happened here? I can tell you what happened here. The town was running a non-solvent, non-viable, or in other words, they're broke. They're broke. They have a non-solvent business going on with water. And therefore, Jeremy walks in, bam! This actually makes this whole propaganda that was shared in Herschel's General Store and the United States Post Office in Otter Creek all the more funnier when somebody's claiming that individuals in Otter Creek, if they get voted in, they're gonna jack up your price of water, when it was the previous administration who actually did this because their sinking ship was taking more water than it could hold. No pun intended. Do you want water bills to go up? That's what will happen. You think?
It's already happened.
It already did happen. You want water bills to go up? That's what will happen. They don't care if the price doubles. It's nothing for them. It's a lot for us. So to summarize, 2021, the town of Otter Creek is going bankrupt because they're not charging enough for water. Now I come in, Mary pulls numbers out of her backside and goes, you owe $50, when the rest of the residents are paying $22.50 for 4,000 gallons. Remember, they're still going bankrupt. They had over a $9,000 loss in 2021. So the administration comes together, they double the price. Now you get 2,000 gallons for $24. Let me tell you, that's not a discount. Remember, it was 4,000 gallons before for $22.50. Now it's $24 for 2,000 gallons. And then comes an election for 4 council seats in 2023. And some individual who will be disclosed later, okay? What happened is completely and totally illegal and being investigated. That person will be disclosed later, okay? And then that person comes in and goes, what do you want? Do you really want your water bill doubled?
Okay, thank you.
We'll move right along to the minutes of the last meeting. Do I hear a motion that we accept the minutes?
Sure. I'll make a motion, we accept the minutes.
Second,
I'll second it.
everybody in favor?
Aye.
Do I hear a motion that we pay the bills?
I'll make a motion that we pay the bills.
Sure, I'll second
Everybody in favor?
This is highly unusual behavior by Don. And before the meeting started, Don and Russell were whispering at each other. And Russell actually said, not tonight, you've got to for this and this. And I turned on the camera right after that started to happen and I started to zoom in on them. So I'm gonna show you what Don is usually like with Russell. But Russell and Don now know that the world is watching.
the thing is, this has to change, you know, we can't state it. The state mandates, it's not me and what I want, it's what the state mandates. And you can't get around that. I don't know why we keep having this problem over and over. I thought by now the attorney would have some input on the problem.
He's crooked too. I don't have a bit of problem with it.
Because
I can see where the money comes from and where it goes to. What else is there? Do y'all wanna, accept the financial reports or not? We got a motion.
no, I don't want them to accept them because they're very, very incomplete. They catch their tails with it.
So the financial reports are not accepted,
The math.
but we are paying the bills. That,
Okay, the motion for financial report dies for lack of a second. We're gonna open these two bids. We got two bids for this next water grant that's coming up. Mr. Mittar was the engineer bid and Mr. Fox was the grant writer. And this is the only two bids that we got. I ain't got a clue what's in here, Mary.
There's 7 packets, one for each one, and one for the clerk. And
It's normal with any government job or any town job that you put that job out for bids. And normally, there's nothing normal in Otter Creek. You want 2, a lot of times 3 organizations to bid. Not here in Otter Creek. We got 1 on both projects. I'm sad to say most organizations just don't want to work in Otter Creek or work with the people of Otter Creek.
This is the same group as the last one.
Same ones it's always done.
and you don't have to do the rating sheet to choose because we have only one engineering firm bid and one administrative firm bid. Request for qualifications, RFQ, and RFP, the request for proposals.
Right there. That's a tight box.
That again. I'll keep Stu for here. Stu still here?
Anybody wants to, look at one, you can grab it and look at it.
Man, it's pretty.
That's Mittar Engineering's bid to bid.
Keep on Stu. Oh, yeah.
This is Mr. Fox's bid to bid. So what do we need to do with that?
Well, you all need to read those bids and decide if we're going to go with them or if we're going to resubmit bids for other proposals. which, having had the good track record we have with Midtower and Fred Fox, I was hoping nobody else would respond.
Well, I don't think we're gonna read them tonight.
I don't
And
think
do
so. That's why, we had said they could have been opened previously, and y'all could have had them to be, studying them along with the ranking, but we don't need a ranking sheet because we're not having to throw in, minority businesses and give them extra points because they're minorities, and make sure that everyone meets the qualifications of the federal grant. We know they do.
So we'll look these over and put it on the next meeting.
Here's where things get a little bit strange. Why even give the proposals out to the current council? Because the next meeting in May, the new council will be voted in and a mayor will be voted in. Now, even Russell thought that this meeting was where the new council was going to be brought in and a new mayor was going to be brought in. But he passed a resolution that he doesn't even understand or grasp, because all he does, he went to the town of Bronson, he copied what they did, and their dates are in our resolutions now, and their dates are specific to the way they do things. So, boom, all of a sudden, we screwed up in our resolution. Everybody thought the new mayor was going to be elected tonight. Nope, the new mayor, because the resolution is screwed up, is elected in the next month in May. Why give these bids out to people who are going to have to bring them back and give them to the new council members?
Next three, there was a three-way tie, but there wasn't a fifth that was tied, so those next three that are the same take the election. And that is Therese Granger, that is Russell S. Meek Sr., and that is Zim Paget. So those will be your official election results. Okay? Anything else from the board?
So the changing of the seats will be not this coming board meeting? The changing of the council?
I believe they'll be sworn in at the next meeting.
They should be sworn in at the next official meeting.
At new business on the next meeting, yes.
Okay. I'll just verify.
Because there are some bylaws that were written last year that state something different.
Okay. I don't think we don't have anything to do with that.
Okay.
This is the next meeting, and because of those unknown things that were adopted, we won't know who our new mayor is until the next month. Why would the town of Otter Creek trust somebody who adopts bylaws and resolutions, doesn't even know what they say, literally has no clue?
Has anybody got anything on the maintenance park for public safety?
No, I don't.
You think if we got a new, another 35-mile-an-hour sign and put it a little in between 19 and Otter Creek Avenue. There's one west of Otter Creek Avenue, a few yards. But the folks go so fast. I've seen lots of my neighbor's dogs, lots. 2 of his pit bulls killed. You hear it, boom, you look at it.
You'd have to get hold of the county to do that.
You're talking about on
Just to work
24,
that
he's
on.
talking about on 24.
Yes.
And
You know, it's like mufflers. Nobody's gonna do anything about mufflers, and probably nobody's gonna do anything about speeders.
well, if there was 10 signs, they probably wouldn't
I
slow
know,
down.
I
The only
know
thing
that.
that's gonna
I'm
stop
I'm
them
wasting time here.
is for, the county and the highway patrol to get out there and write some tickets. And if somebody was to call the county, maybe we could get somebody to write a few tickets.
Russell would know as many times as the sheriff was called on me this past week, but you're about to see later in the video, he's got 2 deputies waiting in cars behind town hall. But here's an idea for the dogs. How about you actually adhere to the Florida state laws? Your animals, your pets must be contained within a fence in your home or on a 6-foot leash or shorter. They don't belong in the road.
I got some signs once from the road gang to put over there. Did a good job real quick too.
Yeah, they're pretty
Yeah.
good about
Yeah.
showing up when you
I
call
went
them.
there.
For water, we've got our filters hooked up, and they're cleaning the water up real good. They still doing a little tweaking on the system. It is a complicated system, but it is working good.
Welcome to Otter Creek, where the mayor tells you the same thing every single meeting. Oh, the water's cleaning up real good. Oh, man. You know nothing about the grants that have been given for the water. The water still isn't drinkable. This is insanity why people trust this man. 30, maybe more years of promises that the water's going to be drinkable? When?
Old business. New business. At the next meeting, the new council will be sworn in. Just so everybody knows that there was a question on it.
Let me translate that for you. Other agencies contacted him and said, hey, this is what your bylaws say. That's what he's really saying here. And there's so much that I could share here right now that's going on with other agencies, but in time.
All right, we're going to public comment.
Has anybody filled out a public comment card?
Don,
I thought they were swearing them in tonight.
No.
don't get sworn in until May.
Oh, we're already public comments? Yeah. Hey, my name's Don Johnson. I'm a resident here. Been here a couple of years now. I live over in the campground in my RV. It's my home at this point in time. So just because it's mobile doesn't mean that it's not a home. I registered to vote here because I am a native Floridian, and I vote. I like to vote. I think it's a good opportunity to put some noise out there, stir things up. For one thing, I don't belong to a political party, never have belonged to a political party. The campaign, as I saw it, as I read it, as it was read to me, not very happy with that. I don't like being accused of a felonious acts in public, which is defamation of my character. Also could put and jeopardize my state-held license as a real estate broker, which I've had for now 23 years in very good standing. I put more tax dollars into this state than this whole room, believe me. Okay, and I don't like being accused of felonious acts, meaning taking bribes to vote for people. I don't do that. I voted for the people that showed up at the public candidate meeting that was held on behalf of the town of Otter Creek, which very few people actually showed up for. And very few of you did either, which is saddening as far as I'm concerned, that you didn't care enough about your town to show up and speak to somebody like me, somebody who's new to your town, and treat me with respect and to honor me with what you planned on doing as a candidate. Okay, I think that if you did get on the seat, that's because people were sleeping at the wheel, and that happens often. We see that in accidents every day. Okay, and we got one in DC now, people sleeping at the wheel. Okay, and so that's all I've got to say about that. I am considering my legal options for the libel, because it was put in writing and posted in a public facility, in two public facilities, one being a federal public facility, which brings into other laws and matters at hand. that creates felonious acts on the people that did that. It's also a clear violation of the Florida Sunshine Laws.
Let's rewind. Remember this document the day before? Well, the night before and the day of election that was in Herschel's and the post office? That's what Don's referring to. Flashback. Part of their scheme is to have everyone in the trailer park vote for their candidates, even giving a hefty discount on this month's rent. This is pure and total slander.
Not a happy camper about this. I can sue for defamation and libel without a doubt. I'm considering that. And that's what I got to say to y'all.
I think it was a mischaracterization of the people that didn't show up there.
No, there was a flyer apparently posted.
Well,
in
I'm talking
Herschel's-
about,
in Herschel's General Store as
the
well as
people
the
that
post
didn't
office.
show up at the rally or the open house, whatever it was. You can't, I don't think you should, mischaracterize the people. It's because they didn't.
Absolutely, it
Doesn't mean
it was
that-
meet
doesn't mean,
the candidates.
Yeah.
4 of the 9 showed up, Don.
Okay, well, more power to them, but the people that didn't show, I don't.
Can't get my vote if I don't know what you stand for.
Okay, and apparently, they didn't get your vote.
No, they did not.
Okay.
Don,
No, they did not.
Don, what is the basis of your complaint? Can you give
A
us-
flyer that was posted in Herschel's General Store as well as the
A
post
flyer?
office that stated that people in the RV park accepted reduction of rent, which is bribery. That's a felonious act under Florida Statute 104. I don't know who did it. That's what I'm aiming to find out. And once I do, I will file a lawsuit as well as possibly, because the actions that were taken to post such flyer are actually felonious by nature of the 3rd degree. They're felonies of the 3rd degree under at least 3 different sections of Title IX, Chapter 104 of the Florida statutes.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Don, and, is anybody else comment?
I just have one question for Mary. I'd like to know what the purpose of your visit to Capital City One Bank was about.
When? I go to Capital City several times a week.
And the nature of your business there?
Banking, business banking.
So you weren't snooping into candidate campaign funds?
No.
Well,
Why would I do that?
I have a statement to the contrary, so I'll be providing your attorney with that statement, sir.
It's my attorney that he's actually talking about. And it's, there's too much information that I can't share right now, but the bank actually contacted, and let's just say this. Mary has very much so tried to involve herself in illegal activity with the bank. Bank's words, not mine.
I haven't even been inside of the bank in quite some time.
You suspect she was doing what there?
Remember, the banks have cameras.
Banks have cameras.
Yeah, they do. And I usually go through the drive-through. I'm usually there after the lobby's closed.
Not this
Sometimes
time,
I
Laura.
do have. When was this?
It'll be in the statement.
Just
If there's no
I
further,
can't go. I can't do banking business.
Sure you can.
I got one. I'm not normally here because I'm usually at work. What he's speaking of, the whole meeting thing, it was held at a candidate's house, Zim. So, can you really expect the people that are running against him to show up? And if you actually looked at Zim's record,
This guy's a good dude. Someone who I actually call a neighbor and a friend. He's a great guy. And some of the things that he brings up in this town hall meeting, I feel are too sensitive for YouTube. And not only that, there's a conflict internally with me because there are no actual charges on the specific issue that he has brought up. Therefore, I've chosen to actually edit that portion out of the entirety of the town hall meeting. But there are other places that you can find it if you really want it. I share this with you for the interest of the individual who's making the public comment, but also for the interest of all people who live in Otter Creek and all of you who care about Otter Creek.
I can understand the other candidates not wanting to go to a rival's house to hold the meeting. It should have been held in a neutral ground.
Where? Here.
How about here?
So then it was suggested
Well,
at,
maybe the
it was
clerk should have
suggested
set
at the
up.
last meeting, why wasn't that then said, hey, let's not do that, let's have it here?
Why didn't the clerk set up a meet the candidate for the town then? And why
She
did
can't
she
do that.
nix it from the church where it was originally set up?
We're on to a whole nother issue here. There were 9 candidates running for 4 council seats, and it was a historic turnout for election voting here in Otter Creek. There are 99 registered voters. 71 individuals came out to vote, and there were 2 other provisionals that were bumped out because they didn't meet the criteria. So still 71. And a lot of people are going, well, how do you get all of these votes with 71? They all had 4 votes. You have 9 individuals. You can vote for 4 of them. The original Meet the Candidates, there were candidates in this race that wanted to tell the people of Otter Creek, go out and vote. Please vote. Make a difference. Make a change. Do something for Otter Creek. And so they created a Meet the Candidates opportunity, which was originally slated to be at the church. Yeah, the same church that, said they didn't want our $150,000 so they could secure the schoolhouse that we're sitting in right now. And then they're mad at us because we actually own it. Yeah, Mary was a part of that. And Mary was part of getting it off the schedule and off the calendar. The pastor told the people, oh yeah, by the way, you did have that date secured, but you no longer can hold that event here. So that left the candidates looking for a place that was neutral. The only neutral place we could have gone, well, not Town Hall, let's face it, they wouldn't have opened it for those people anyway, and there wasn't enough space, so it had to be somewhere big, and we didn't own the schoolhouse yet. But even if we did, do you think those other candidates really would have came here? They would have had the same complaint. Jeremy and George's place is not neutral.
The fact that it was held at a candidate's house was, in my opinion, wrong.
There were other candidates there, sir.
There was certain candidates. There was a group here and a group here. It's like cliques, and that's all.
Yeah.
Candidacy is not about cliques. Candidacy is about public interest.
All right, I'm done. I mean, I've lived here for 30 years. You've lived here for what, a year? Okay, 2 for you. Oh, 2 years. Oh, good for you.
Okay, what would you got, Michelle?
All I
My
want to
family
say,
goes back in Florida.
Okay,
but
yeah, we
Florida was
discussed
a
that.
My family goes back in Florida since the freaking 1700s.
Okay.
What's your
all that
point?
matter? What's the
What's
point?
the
Come
matter?
on up and say what you
the
gotta say.
the backbiting during this whole thing has been horrible. It's been horrific. And I myself have been a victim of it. So I think that everybody ought to just keep their P's and Q's to themselves, because people that live in glass houses should not throw rocks. That's what I have to say about it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your comments. We got a motion and a second to adjourn. Everybody is in favor?
Sure.
I'm in favor, Ms. Jern.
Meeting is adjourned.
Yes.
This is another individual who ran for council. And let me just say this, the word victim is thrown around a lot. This is the reality for most people. You're a victim of your own poor decisions and your own poor actions. We're leaving Town Hall, and here's right around Town Hall. There were 2 sheriffs waiting just for a phone call the entire time. So they were outside hiding behind Town Hall. They were here. They were definitely here. You cannot make this stuff up. And I promise you, next Town Hall meeting, something big is coming. Some of you right now are going to go, Jeremy, aren't you flying back north? Yeah, I am. And I'm flying back south just to be there. Stay tuned.